Nehemiah chapter 1 from verse 1 to 4. I read from the New Living Translation. It says, "These are the memoirs of Nehemiah son of Hakaliah. In the late autumn, in the month of Kislev, in the 20th year of King Artaxerxes, I was at the fortress of Susa. Hanani, one of my brothers, came to visit me with some other men who had just arrived from Judah. I asked them about the Jews who had returned there from captivity and about how things are going in Jerusalem. They said to me, 'Things are not going well for those who return to the province of Judah. They are in great trouble and disgrace. The wall of Jerusalem has been torn down, and the gates have been destroyed by fire.'" Verse 4. When I heard this, I sat down and wept. In fact, for days I mourned, fasted, and prayed to the God of heaven. Amen. So I would like us to take a look at a few qualities of a leader from these first 4 verses of Nehemiah chapter 1. First off, a leader possesses a selfless attitude. A leader possesses a selfless attitude. You cannot lead if you operate in selfishness. If selfishness is one of your attributes, then you cannot lead. Because being a leader is equivalent to being a servant. You are at the service of people. You need to love people. You need to go above and beyond for people. You need to relate with people. So in order for you to properly lead, you need to possess a selfless attitude. In this case, Nehemiah demonstrated a selfless attitude by showing concern for his people. When his brother Hanani visited, he asked Hanani about his brothers at Jerusalem, at the province of Judah. He wanted to know about them. He was inquiring, how are they doing? What can you tell me about them? And when he was told about their condition, he wasn't pleased about what he heard. But here's our focus. Our focus is that in order to be a leader, you need to possess a selfless attitude. Because selfishness and leadership do not go hand in hand. Leadership and service do go hand in hand. The other thing I want us to see here is that a leader shows compassion and concern for others. Just like we said, Nehemiah was concerned about the people at the province of Judah. So he showed concern for them. He showed compassion for them. When we talk about compassion, we're talking about concern about the sufferings of others. In this case, Nehemiah was told that the walls of Jerusalem had been torn down and the gates had been destroyed by fire. And how did he show compassion? He showed compassion by weeping. He was distressed about the information he received concerning his people at the province of Judah. So in order for you to be a leader, to properly lead people, you need to have a heart of compassion. You need to show concern about the sufferings of others. When you see people in need, going through distress, whether or not you can help them, it's encouraging to them when you show compassion towards them and towards what they are going through at that stage of their life. Amen. Next thing I want us to see is that a leader shows empathy. What is empathy? Empathy is when you share the feelings of others, when you walk in the shoe of another person, and you actually express that. Nehemiah was not a victim of the current situation. However, when he heard about what his people were going through, he showed empathy. He was moved by what his people were going through. That is who a leader is. A leader is careful enough and concerned enough to show compassion, to show empathy. And the last thing I would like us to take a look at from these first 4 verses is this. A leader is attentive to the response of the people. In this case, he was attentive to the response of Hanani. Most often we could ask questions, but our intention is not to get the response. And sometimes, even when we get the response, we are not attentive to understand what the response is all about. However, in this case, Nehemiah got a response. He asked a question on purpose and received the answer on purpose. And when he got the response to his question, it caused him to move in different directions. He was moved with compassion and he was moved by empathy. So my encouragement for you today is this. If you call yourself a leader, I encourage you to be a leader who possesses a selfless attitude. Number 1, a leader who shows compassion, meaning you show concern for the sufferings of others. Number 3, I encourage you to be a leader who shows empathy. And number 4, I want you to be a leader who is attentive to the response of the people. Amen.